And he said to them, "Go into all the world and preach the good news to all creation."
Mark 16:15, the Lord's Great Commission. We here at Cornerstone Community Church take that commissioning seriously, for we feel the Lord was not just talking to his disciples, but to believers all over the world. We have a great heritage of missionary work here at Cornerstone Community Church. We support financially and spiritually 3 missionaries now. 2 of our church bodies were long-term missionaries in Panama. And every year we send out a team from our church, of our church members, on short-term missions trips here in the country and abroad. Recently we got together with some of these members and asked them what prompted them to go on a short-term missions trip.
Well, I think God was pushing me to do that for a few years, and I finally quit worrying about all the reasons I shouldn't and just decided to go.
I guess the very first missions trip I went on was, I was just very curious, and I just felt a real tugging in my heart. I was being convicted that I should do this, and I was very afraid. Just really wasn't sure about going to a foreign country, but man, once I went and once I was there, I guess I saw what the Lord was kind of communicating to my heart. Just that was a really good place to be, and I could really serve him there. And maybe it was serving the Lord.
The reason I went into full-time missionary work for 5 years was that I found myself, while I was working in another job before I did it, spending a lot of time talking to people about the Lord, and so I made a decision that I wanted to do it more than 40 hours a week, and so I quit my job and I went into full-time Christian missionary work.
Mary did. Well, I didn't want to go, and she kind of wanted to go, and then we just went. She dragged me to go.
Several months went by where I was feeling very uneasy in my heart and feeling that there must be more to life than just getting up early in the morning, going and receiving your paycheck at the end of the week, and then going out and trying to keep up with the young Joneses of our time. And one day, it was a culmination of actually years of God bringing missionary emphases to me, to my parents' home, to my heart and life. The culmination of that, one Sunday Ruth was sick, and at church the Spirit of God just spoke very powerfully to me through an author, Ken Anderson, who was making Christian films at the time, and impressed upon me that my problem was myself. I was feeling uncomfortable because my focus was basically upon me, myself, what I could get out of life, where we were going to go as a couple, and as far as being here in the United States. And that day, it was like the Spirit of God just opened my eyes to have a real, genuine world view, or a world vision, and impressed upon my heart that I needed to be involved, just like a lot of the other people who had been talking to us about foreign missions, that we needed to be involved as well. So when I went home and told her that, she began weeping, and at that particular time she told me that just 3 nights before she had said to the Lord, if you want us to be involved in foreign missions, you'll have to speak to Johnny's heart. And that's precisely what God did. His timing was awesome.
Experiences are the true essence of our lives. This is what I wear when I treat patients down in Guatemala, and maybe for many of them, this isn't a pleasant experience. But for our members of our church body who have been on short-term mission trips or been missionaries for a better part of their life, experience is what they will cherish the rest of their lives. So please listen and watch as several of them share with you their experiences from their missions trips. Oh, and by the way, the dentist is in.
Right now, one of the most memorable experiences I can think of would be I was witnessing to an Indian lady in Spanish, And Lisa was sitting with me or in the room playing. I guess I didn't even realize she was paying that much attention. But she was there, and I explained the gospel to the Indian lady in Spanish, and I can't remember for sure if the woman accepted Jesus Christ or not. I think she did. But later, Lisa asked me, Mom, well, I want to know more about what you were telling that woman about Jesus dying for our sins. I want to do that too. And so I explained it to Lisa in English, and Lisa did accept Christ as her Savior at 7 years old.
Getting to know the Venezuelans, I think, is one thing that really stuck out in my mind. Their friendship, their love. I've actually received a couple letters from them. And the communication that you can still communicate between other Christians in foreign lands is something that I think is awesome. And to show that there's no boundaries.
Well, I guess maybe it's not just one incident, but just the relationships we built while we were there. Not just spending so much time together, but how we shared. Every night we would sit together and just share for hours. And coming home and continuing those relationships were very meaningful. Well, wait till I see this video. If Mary says anything bad about me, then I won't think that's so great. But no, it was great. You know, the relationships that we continue to this day from the trip was worth everything.
That's true. For me, the neatest thing was when you first get to Guatemala, you see, first of all, the terrain is completely different, and the mountains, and it just looks so different. And the homes are different, and the people look different, and their clothes are different, and they talk different, and everything's so different. You think you're complete culture shock. And then the first night, we actually got to Santiago Atitlan, and we made it to the last church service in this particular building that we were going to be working on the next day. So it was in the evening. It was their evening church service, and it was maybe 700 people in this building, and we're still, being kind of faced with all the differences. And then they started speaking and preaching in Sutahil and singing in Spanish, and it was very kind of overwhelming. And then they all started singing Amazing Grace. No, I'm sorry, it wasn't Amazing Grace, How Great Thou Art. And it's one of my favorite hymns, and they're singing How Great Thou Art in Spanish. And then we all started singing it in English. And then what came to me then was how much alike we are. And we all know the meanings of those words. And we're all worshiping the same God, and we're all in the same family of God. We're all brothers and sisters. And for the rest of the week, I kept noticing how alike we were, and that we were all part of the same big family, and that was great to me.
What I like about mission trips are the relationships that happen, the relationships that you make with in the mission field, the new people that you get to meet and bond with other Christians from all over the world. You find that you have a lot of things in common regardless of the culture, two different cultures that you live in. The relationships between the group that goes, just learning about the insights of people, what they think and how they feel, and just the intimacy that develops. And then I think about our relationship. We went as a couple, and I was so thoroughly excited about that. And our relationship benefited from going to the mission field because we got up in the morning, we prayed together, and then we worked in the mission field together, and then in the evening we prayed again and reflected on it. So it was an opportunity for us to just spend a certain segment of time just focused on the Lord, focused on each other, and I think I walked away from the mission field with a great appreciation for those I went with, and certainly my wife too. We just really felt it was special, and we're looking forward to going again next year.
I would definitely go again, definitely. And I was one of those a little reluctant to go. I don't fly well. I really don't like being taken out of my comfort zone very much.
Are bad.
And getting off the plane and seeing a different country, a lot of poverty, just a different way of life. The first couple days were very uncomfortable for me, but oh, what a blessing. All of a sudden, when you can just kind of let go of your way, you know, your things, and just kind of say, all right, Lord, what do you have for me here? That's just really a blessing. And I would definitely encourage other people to go. I think we all need to be taken out of our comfort zone. I mean, that's what faith is all about, is stepping out when we don't know really what's going to happen. And I think God blesses that and encourages us to do that.
The list is endless. But I think for me, I found it just inspiring to get together, bring two different cultures together, not speaking the same language, but being able to pray to one God. And to have everyone praying at the same time, which is more or less how this particular Indian tribe in Guatemala does it. And to have that just start kind of low, and it just goes on and it gets higher and higher and higher. It's beautiful. And that I found just chills going through me. And the people you're with, I can't say enough about the men and women that I've been privileged that the Lord's allowed me to spend time with there. Dynamite people.
I can think of one. We had been hiking for probably 13, 14 hours at this point. We were hiking in the pitch black and mud up to our legs, and this girl that was in front of me fell, and she sat on me and knocked me in the mud. And I sat down there and I absolutely refused to go another step. And at that point in time, there was a lot of tension and a lot of things like that going on. And we all sat down and we prayed about it, and we were able to get up and go. And then when we came back, we were just talking about this experience, and Sally stayed and said, you know, we were just talking about the time. And she said, I've been really led to pray for you guys about that same time. And we were all able to get up and go. And it was just neat because there was tons of little incidences throughout the whole trip that just different conflicts or whatever going on. And when we got back, we found, someone was praying for us at that time, where things were able to be resolved real quickly.
When we had gotten to Panama maybe 3 or 4 years, and we were young and excited and working hard at learning the language and the culture of the Choco Indians. And but every so often we'd wonder, are we accomplishing anything? And one night, as we sat we laid in our beds in our little jungle house, which only had screens, and then the Indians' house next door had no walls. And it was quiet because there's no electricity, there's no noises, and we were just laying in bed, and we heard the young couple next door, Indian couple, praying. They were praying for their children, their walk with the Lord, and they were praying for friends and family who didn't know the Lord, and they prayed also for the missionaries. And at that time it was just like, yeah, it's worth it all. I mean, to hear them praying. And then also in different meetings that we'd have and hear their testimonies, how the Lord answered prayer. Yeah, it's worth it all.
Those are the kinds of moments where you know that's a foretaste of heaven. It's an experience here and now of the kind of thing, a shadow of the kind of thing that we will experience for eternity when we're in the presence of the Lord. We're going to see those same people someday, and maybe we'll see them here, before that happens, but we'll be with them on that day along with a host of others. And those are foreshadowings and foretastes of what we'll be experiencing one day forever. It's a beautiful thing.
If you're like me or many other believers, you may have been prompted or even convicted to go on a short-term missions trip, but for some reason or another, you decided not to go. We asked several members of our church body who have been on missions trip if they were asked by someone who was thinking about going on a missions trip what advice they would give them so that they might go. Here are some of the answers.
I would say be ready to get out of your comfort level, because you're going to meet different things, different cultures, different aspects. God might put you in a place where you don't really know what's going on, and just to be ready to be real dependent on the Lord, I think. That would be the best advice, I think, that I'd have. Know that things are going to be different.
My advice would be to follow that prompting. If you've got any inkling or any little feeling of desire to do it, and I know that fear creeps in there because it did for us, because we didn't know, what's the food going to be like, what's the accommodations going to be like, are we going to be sleeping in a tent somewhere out in the middle of the jungle, you don't know. The unknown of doing those is very scary. But if, for us, we had that little inkling, we had that little curiosity, and if you've got that at all, take it and follow it, because what you get out of it in the long run just puts all of those fears aside very quickly.
If you have fears, to try to trust God that He's going to take away your fears and He'll give you the strength that you need. And actually it ends up being a really positive experience. In a way, you learn to overcome your fears. You realize that it's not really what you thought it was going to be, it's better. I also feel like you need to go expecting something from God, because if you go expecting something, it usually will happen. I know that I felt that God did a lot for me when I went, so that's what I think. You just go expecting.
Well, I would highly recommend that you go. I think it was just a wonderful experience. It was very spiritually uplifting, and it did change my life, both the first time and the second time that I went. People have a lot of concerns about going to a foreign country because of the culture shock that they're concerned about, but I would just tell you to just let the Lord lead you down there. Take it one day at a time, and everything is just going to be fine, and you would really enjoy it.
I guess I would say just stop listening to all the negative reasons why you shouldn't go, and just do it, because once you get there, it'll all be worth it.
I agree with that, and I think especially if you have a particular fear of your own that is preventing you from going, then that's all the more reason to go, because God's going to show His power in that situation and help you overcome that. And I mean, whether it's the food or fear of flying or just insecurities about being in a strange place, just go and see that you can trust God in every situation, especially when you're afraid.
Nancy and I'd like to thank everyone who's either participated or contributed to this video. And it's our hope, as well as the Lord's hope, that what you've seen and what you've heard will help convict you to go on a short-term missions trip. And may God bless you as much as He's blessed us. Thank you.